Up until the moment I pressed record on this video, I was still really debating whether or not I even wanted to make this video, whether or not I even wanted to talk about this pay-per-view. Because if I'm being totally honest, I'm not excited for it, and the matches on the card didn't get me excited, and everything that happened with TNA in the last week on their last episode, it really has left a bad taste in my mouth, and I don't know how long I can stick with TNA anymore. And for that reason, I've made the decision that after covering this pay-per-view, that they're gonna have 3 chances. If they have 3 bad shows within the next 2 months, I'm gonna be done. Because the brutal honest truth is, TNA keeps fucking up. There are good stuff on the shows, no doubt. They have some really good and entertaining stuff, but for the most part, there is so much potential in the show that they just keep messing up, ruining, and not hitting. Like, really, we dropped the belt to Frankie Kazarian. Santana lost the World Heavyweight Champion to Frankie Kazarian. Again, nothing against Frankie Kazarian. He deserves to have a World Championship reign for all the work he's put in. But really, we were waiting months and months, and so many people felt that it was so overdue for Santana to get the belt only to take it off of him. Now look, we all know Santana is going to leave eventually. So is someone like Leon Slater. They're both going to go to WWE down the line. But that doesn't mean we should not capitalize on having them now. Because right now, Santana is the most over superstar in your company. He is the face of TNA. Nobody is tuning into TNA to see Frankie Kazarian. And even then, I'm so conflicted because I feel like this was a really interesting way to take the belt off of Mike Santana if we did it 3 months in, 4 months in. There is a lot of interesting stories here to tell, especially with Nic Nemeth also having a call your shot option. So it is a good idea, it is a good concept, but it's just way too early, and it's so funny that they can do this way too early, but the fact that they can't put the belt on Santana when they need to, it's ridiculous. They did the same with Joe Henry, and I know I sound like a broken record because I've said it over and over again in some of my other videos. It's just so infuriating. So really, TNA, they have 3 shots, 3 bad shows, and I'm out because I really can't keep doing this anymore. I've watched the show for a better part of a year now, and whenever there's complaints online, whenever there's arguments, I defend TNA to the death. But it's getting really difficult because, you know, I don't see the point in it anymore. It's not even like they're WWE light, because NXT is my favorite wrestling show in the world. Evolve is one of my favorite wrestling shows right now, and they're only an hour long, and their storylines, their action, their characters are so much more entertaining than what is happening on TNA. So with the rant out of the way, let's talk about Victory Road 2025. Don't expect me to go into too much depth about the matches, about the storylines, because honestly, there was not a lot of storylines going into most of these matches, and on the other hand, I just really didn't care about the matches, so it's not like I'm gonna be invested in the action. So the show opens with Frankie Kazarian coming down to the ring. He celebrates being the new World Champion. Then the TNA president comes out and he says that there's going to be a lot of investigation into what has happened, because the NXT wrestlers who invaded TNA and attacked the people, they didn't attack Frankie Kazarian, so that is very suspicious. And then Nic Nemeth also comes out and he says that he will team up with Frankie Kazarian in the main event tonight. He will put their differences aside for one night only, but that he still has the call your shot gauntlet and he's gonna use his option soon. So like I said, I do like this storyline. I feel like there is interest therein, but it's just clouded by all the bad stuff that happened with Mike Santana that I struggle to enjoy it. The opening match of the card though is Kalani Jordan defeating M by Elegance to retain the Knockouts Championship. Again, I love the fact that we are involving Kalani Jordan and the By Elegance brand, but I just feel like it should have been done differently. This is really not a match that should be on the pay-per-view. M by Elegance is not a proper challenger for the Knockouts Championship, and Kalani Jordan retained, so that is good. I've been enjoying her storyline. I do hope we still do stuff with the By Elegance brand. I feel like there's more story there with her formerly being trained by Ash by Elegance, but you know, just for this match, there really was no point. The following match is AJ Francis versus BDE, a match that was set up on the pre-show of the last TNA Impact. And you know, I was actually quite excited for this match. I feel like we should have put it on the main card because BDE is a really interesting guy. I love his videos. Having a match with AJ Francis sounds really interesting. Now he loses, but I still feel like there was a lot more we could have achieved there. I'm happy AJ Francis get a victory. It is kinda a big victory in a way. While BDE isn't an established wrestler, he is quite a big name. but then again, they could have done so much more with this. I do hope BDE sticks around. He's really fun. I love him as a person, as a character. So I hope he sticks around, does more stuff, but I'm not too sure. We go backstage where Steve Maclin says that he hasn't seen Mike Santana yet, since he and Mike Santana are supposed to team up in the main event against Frankie Kazarian and Nic Nemeth. But you know, they're building this whole storyline where management can reach Santana. Steve Maclin says he's ready to fight alone to represent TNA, and he is waiting for the NXT guys to attack because he wants a piece of them. So Steve Maclin just wants beef with everyone. I really like this. Again, intriguing story, just clouded by so much bad stuff. The next match is Indy Hartwell defeating Dani Luna in a hardcore match, a no disqualification match, I should say. A really solid match, one of the few matches where I'm actually interested in the feud. I am a bit upset with the result though. I've said time and time again, Indy Hartwell does not need to turn heel, she does not need to be a badass, she should just be a goofy character worker and she will be a superstar. I think Dani Luna should have won this match, if I'm being completely honest with you. She needed a lot more. She's one of the standouts. You can go on to any wrestler who covers TNA, you can go on to any forums, everybody will say that Dani Luna is one of the breakout superstars and they should really push her. I don't feel like this loss benefited her at all. I don't think it benefited Indy Hartwell at all. I feel like Dani Luna winning this should have been the obvious decision. I don't think it's over for her. I think she still has a long way to go in the company. I just feel like this result doesn't achieve what it should have been. The next match though is for the Knockouts Tag Team Championships. It's supposed to be the Angel Warriors versus the Tag Team Champions, the Inspiration, versus Tessa Blanchard and Victoria Crawford. Unfortunately, Tessa Blanchard announces that she isn't cleared to compete. So Mila Moore, the most recent signing to TNA, we got some footage of on the last Impact, she's taking her place. I feel like, I don't know what's happening with Tessa Blanchard. They keep having her on the show, but she never appears. Up until Bound for Glory, she didn't have any appearances at all, and even now she's not wrestling. We should just cut our losses at this point. I mean, Mila Moore does feel like a very interesting replacement for Tessa Blanchard, but you know, I really didn't care about this match at all. The Knockouts Tag Team Championships, there's not really any storyline behind them. I feel like even in WWE, while their tag team division is dead for the women, it's at least better than what's happening on TNA. The Inspiration retains, you know, fine match. Just wanted to know that Mila Moore is apparently teamed up with Tessa Blanchard and Victoria Crawford, which I don't enjoy. I don't want her to be stuck in the tag team division. I don't want her aligned with Victoria Crawford, Tessa Blanchard. I would rather have her be on her own. The Knockouts division really needs fresh faces. The Order 4 also defeats the Hardy Boys and Cedric Alexander in a matchup. A fun matchup. Always like seeing the Hardy Boys. Again, not much of a storyline here. The multi-man tag team match that does have a lot of storyline though is the Rascals versus the System. Desmond Xavier, the formerly known Wes Lee, is back in TNA. He's back with the Rascals. The Rascals now have 4 members, and I constantly said that I want to see a different look of the Rascals. This is completely different than just Zachary Wentz and Trey Miguel. I'm actually starting to buy back into the Rascals. I feel like there's a lot of cool dynamics. The Rascals do end up winning this match. I think that is the best result, especially if Desmond Xavier is back. I really hope he's signed. I feel like he can genuinely be a breakout star for TNA. Like, just imagine the matches between Desmond Xavier and Leon Slater for the X Division Championship. That would be goated. And even then, I feel like you are inevitably going to lose Mike Santana. Desmond Xavier, he's proven that as a top babyface, he can anchor your company. Well, not anchor it, but like, remember his amazing North American Championship reign? I feel like just given a bit of a push, he could level that up into a main event level push and then be your next Santana. Not character wise, but be the next standout face. And seeing as WWE clearly didn't like him, there's a potential that he could be your next long-term guy. Just saying, push the guy. All tonight backstage, there's a lot of drama going on too, with Santino and Ava basically complaining because NXT guys keep invading TNA, and Ava says she's not involved at all, but Santino is getting a bit pissed. Eric Young, who has been talking about this whole cleansing thing recently, he blames Santino. He thinks Santino has something to do with it. Santino says no, but Eric Young claims that the cleanse is coming. He keeps saying the cleanse is coming, but nothing ever happens. And while I am really intrigued by it, and I feel like it's a good idea, it sucks. I feel like, here's what they should do. He's a TNA guy through and through. He should be like this anti-hero. Like, we know Leon Slater's gonna leave, we know Santana's gonna leave eventually. I feel like a broken record, I've said that. You should try and cleanse them out of the company. They should have done that with Joe Henry. Have him eliminate Joe Henry from the company. They should like have him be the one to lead the forces against the NXT guys that are invading. He should go after former NXT guys that are now wrestling on TNA, like Desmond Xavier, and try and beat the shit out of them because they're not TNA guys. I'm mixing my TNA and NXT up a lot. I'm so sorry for that. But yeah, they're not doing what I want them to do, and I'm not a wrestling booker, but fuck, I'm gonna boost my own ego. I could book the shit better than TNA. I mean, I'm just giving a fraction of a thought. If I actually had to sit down for 5 hours a day and write TNA, man, I can do so much better than them. Next match, Leon Slater defends his X Division Championship against Rich Swann. Again, another match that was set up on the last Impact in a single backstage segment that wasn't even about to do. It was a backstage segment about BDE. So, you know, and I'm not a match I cared about, but Rich Swann and Leon Slater are two great wrestlers. Leon Slater retains. After the match, there is a memorialization for Leon Slater's mother who passed away. Rest in peace to her. It sucks for Leon Slater, but I'm happy he got this moment. I'm happy she got memorialized. They're really treating Leon Slater really well as a star. I do hope before he ends up leaving, he does get a TNA World Championship reign down. And I also hope he and Javon Evans win the NXT Tag Team Championships. That would be a very nice moment. And then we head to the main event. Now, before we get there, just a tiny bit of context. Backstage earlier in the night, Marsha Day was interviewed, and she said she's coming after Kalani Jordan for the Women's Championship, the Knockouts Championship. And yes, I would like that feud. Marsha Day versus Kalani Jordan sounds dope as hell. But then Ryan Nemeth came up, he shooed her away. So during this match, it's Steve Maclin going up against Nic Nemeth and Frankie Kazarian alone. During the match, Ryan Nemeth does try to interfere, but Marsha Day comes up and she gets her revenge. She beats the shit out of Ryan Nemeth and pushes him back. You all know I'm not the biggest fan of intergender wrestling. I don't have a problem with it. I just don't, I don't buy into it a lot. But I do feel in this specific case, it does make sense. It is a nice match. I wouldn't mind seeing it before she goes after Kalani Jordan. Ryan Nemeth feud versus Marsha Day sounds pretty fun. But during the match, Mike Santana does end up coming back, and he and Steve Maclin pick up the victory over Nic Nemeth and Frankie Kazarian. A really fun result again. Story's interesting, just, sucks. It's clouded by this whole ass booking. Fire Tommy Dreamer and fire whoever, what's his name, Delirious? Fire him. Just hire new writers who are actually passionate, but at the same time know what they're doing. Because I have no doubt that Tommy Dreamer is passionate. He's just not good. After the match, Nic Nemeth thinks about cashing in his Call Your Shot gauntlet, but the NXT guys jumped the ring. I hate this whole NXT invasion. I hate the fact that it's a bunch of jobbers. No offense to Brooks Jensen, Lexis King, Charlie Dempsey, Stacks, what's the team's name? The Ryze. No offense to any of them, but it feels like NXT is just giving them their scraps. If it was Obafemi, Trick Williams, Ricky Saints, all of them interfering, I would have been more interested, but it's just nobody cares that Lexis King is attacking Santana. There's no what's the interest there? So if I had to give Victory Road a rating, it's gonna be a 3 out of 10. I see the potential. There are a few stuff I liked, but overall, man, it's just when a show has momentum going into it, there is a chance that a bad show is very good. But when there isn't momentum, when the last few shows actively have a bad taste in your mouth, I mean, Bound for Glory was good. Then we had a month of no action, so automatically you're coming in, you're feeling fresh. Then you have a horrible show. All that waiting plus a horrible show, now I'm feeling really bad. And then you have a pay-per-view that just nothing seems important, and you have to watch it after a bunch of bad decisions. It's just, why do I even care? So I can't really give it a much higher rating than that. But if you like my video, please leave a like and subscribe. I cover NXT, Evolve, and TNA every single week. Unfortunately, TNA might not be here for long, but I'm really gonna try and push through and see if they can buy me in again. But if they can't, I'm not gonna be able to say NXT, Evolve, and TNA anymore, but that's for the future. So leave a like, subscribe. I hope to see you again soon. Goodbye, everyone.